Hello, miladies of inestimable value. The loudest silence is the one that follows a vanishing act. When a Sigma female disappears, it's not a cry for attention or a plea for help. It's a deliberate, calculated decision that leaves those around her questioning what just happened. She doesn't leave breadcrumbs or send farewell notes. She simply vanishes, leaving behind an eerie silence that speaks volumes. But why do these enigmatic women, who seem to have it all together, suddenly disappear without a trace? The answer is as complex as they are, rooted in a fierce independence, a rejection of mediocrity, and an unyielding need for authenticity. Prepare to uncover the brutal truths behind why Sigma females vanish, and why their absence often says more than their presence ever could. Number 1 on our list, burnout from emotional vampires. Sigma females have an uncanny knack for spotting emotional vampires from a mile away. You know the type, the people who suck the life out of every conversation, draining your energy while giving nothing in return. These emotional freeloaders are the kind who latch onto anyone with a pulse and a listening ear, and they leave you feeling like you just ran a marathon after a 5-minute chat. For most people, dealing with these energy leeches is an unfortunate part of life. But for a Sigma female, it's a deal breaker. The minute she realizes someone's draining her vibe, she's already halfway out the door. She's not interested in being someone's emotional dumping ground. Her time and energy are precious, and she's not about to waste them on people who leave her feeling exhausted and empty. Sigma females are fiercely protective of their inner world, and they know that letting emotional vampires hang around is a surefire way to drain their battery. It's like inviting a mosquito into your bedroom. You'll be itching all night and regretting it the whole time. So instead of sticking around and letting these emotional vampires feast on her good energy, she does what any self-respecting Sigma would do. She vanishes. It's not a gradual fade out either. 1 minute she's there, nodding politely, and the next she's gone, leaving nothing but a faint breeze in her wake. Emotional vampires are left wondering what happened, but she doesn't stick around to explain. She knows that trying to change or fix these people is a lost cause, and she has zero interest in being someone's emotional life support. So she makes a clean break, no strings attached, and disappears into a space where her energy is safe from being sucked dry. Her ability to vanish isn't about avoiding conflict or being rude, it's about self-preservation. Sigma females understand that you can't pour from an empty cup, and they're not about to let anyone empty theirs. They've got dreams to chase, passions to pursue, and a life to live, and they're not letting anyone drag them down with unnecessary drama or emotional baggage. So when they vanish, it's not a mystery. It's a smart, calculated move to protect their peace and keep their energy intact. And honestly, they're better off for it. At number 2, the world isn't built for them. Sigma. Females operate in a world that feels like it was built for everyone else but them. Society tends to celebrate the loud, the flashy, and the conformists, those who follow the script without questioning it. But for a Sigma female, that script is nothing more than a set of arbitrary rules that she has no interest in playing by. She sees through the charade of societal norms, and honestly, she's not impressed. Instead of trying to squeeze herself into a mold that was never meant for her, she takes one look at the whole setup and decides she's better off creating her own path. That's when the vanishing act happens. She doesn't disappear because she's lost or confused. Quite the opposite, she's crystal clear on what she wants and what she doesn't. And what she doesn't want is to waste her time fitting into a world that doesn't get her. Sigma females are wired to seek out authenticity, real connections, and a life that feels true to who they are, not what others expect them to be. But let's face it, authenticity isn't exactly on the menu in a society obsessed with appearances, status, and playing by the rules. So when she feels the walls closing in, pushing her towards conformity, she chooses to vanish. This vanishing isn't just a physical disappearance, it's a retreat into her own space where she can breathe, think, and live on her own terms. She might still be around, but she's no longer part of the game everyone else is playing. Instead, she's in her own world, doing her own thing and thriving in ways most people can't even comprehend. She knows that the world wasn't built for people like her, So she builds her own world, one that fits her perfectly. And here's the kicker. While everyone else is busy trying to climb some ladder or follow some trend, she's quietly mastering her own craft, building something meaningful and real. She doesn't need to be seen or heard to know she's making an impact. Her strength lies in her independence, her ability to navigate life on her own terms without seeking validation from the masses. So when she vanishes, it's not because she's giving up. It's because she's smart enough to know that she doesn't need to stick around in a world that doesn't suit her. She's creating her own reality, and in that reality, she's unstoppable. Number 3, invisibility as a power move. Sigma females understand the power of invisibility better than anyone. While most people crave attention and validation, they know there's a certain magic in moving through life unnoticed. When a Sigma female decides to vanish, it's not because she's running away, it's because she's making a power move. Disappearing from the radar allows her to operate in the shadows, where she can observe, strategize, and make her next move without anyone seeing it coming. There's something undeniably thrilling about being one step ahead while everyone else is still figuring out where you went. This isn't about playing hard to get or pulling some dramatic vanishing act for effect. For a Sigma female, going off the grid is a way to reclaim her autonomy and keep the world guessing. She doesn't need to announce her plans or justify her actions. She simply steps back, watching the chaos from a safe distance, while she maneuvers her way through life's challenges with the precision of a chess master. People are left wondering where she is, what she's doing, and when she'll reappear. But that's exactly how she likes it. Operating under the radar gives her a unique advantage. While others are busy broadcasting their every move, a Sigma female is quietly building, creating and achieving without the distraction of outside opinions. She's not interested in letting the world in on her plans until they're already in motion. By the time anyone realizes what she's up to, it's usually too late to interfere. She's already 10 steps ahead, and the rest are left to marvel at how she managed to pull it off without making a sound. This ability to vanish and reappear at will is a power that few possess, and Sigma females wield it like a secret weapon. It's not about being sneaky or evasive. It's about maintaining control over her life and decisions. She knows that when you keep people guessing, you hold all the cards. And for a Sigma female, that's the ultimate power move, one that ensures she's always in the driver's seat, steering her own destiny without anyone else. At number 4, mediocrity is their enemy. Sigma females don't just vanish because they're tired or overwhelmed. They vanish because they've learned the hard way that not everyone deserves access to them. Over time, they've become masters at detecting the subtle signs of toxic behavior, emotional manipulation, and ulterior motives. They've seen enough to know that some people are more interested in taking than giving, in tearing down rather than building up. And rather than stick around and fight battles that aren't worth their energy, they make a quiet exit, leaving the drama and negativity far behind. They're not interested in playing games or getting caught up in someone else's chaos. Sigma females value their peace of mind above all else, and they're not about to let anyone disturb it. So when they sense that someone is trying to pull them into a toxic situation, they don't confront it head-on. They simply vanish. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about choosing their battles wisely and knowing when to walk away. Why waste time on people who thrive on drama and discord when you could be investing that energy into something that actually matters? Vanishing isn't just a way to protect themselves. It's a way to set boundaries without having to spell them out. Sigma females know that actions speak louder than words, and disappearing from a toxic environment sends a clear message. They're not here for the nonsense. They're not here to be someone's emotional punching bag or to get dragged into a vortex of negativity. They've got bigger things to focus on, like their own growth, happiness, and fulfillment. By vanishing, they reclaim their power. They step back into their own space, where they can recharge, refocus, and realign with what truly matters. They're not interested in getting caught up in someone else's drama. They're too busy writing their own story. And while others might wonder why she suddenly disappeared, the Sigma female knows exactly why. Because she refuses to be anything less than authentic. And she's not afraid to walk away from anything or anyone that tries to compromise that. In the end, it's not just about vanishing. It's about thriving on her own terms, free from the weight of other people's baggage. Number 5, rejection of control. Sigma females have a radar for fake people that's so sharp it might as well be a superpower. They can spot a phony smile, a forced compliment, or a hidden agenda faster than most people can blink. And here's the thing, they're just not interested in playing along. When they sense someone's being fake, whether it's a friend who's only around when they need something or a colleague who's buttering them up for their own gain, they don't waste time trying to figure out the person's endgame. They just quietly remove themselves from the situation. And when a Sigma female vanishes, it's like she was never there in the first place. One moment she's nodding politely, the next she's gone, leaving the fakers to their own devices. It's not that she's rude or dismissive. She just has zero tolerance for inauthenticity. Life's too short to be spent around people who aren't real, and a Sigma female knows that better than anyone. She values genuine connections, and she's not about to water herself down or play along with the charade just to keep up appearances. If someone's being fake, she'd rather not be around at all. Her time is precious, and she's not interested in wasting it on relationships that are built on anything less than the truth. What's even more intriguing is how effortlessly she slips away from these situations. There's no dramatic exit, no confrontation, just a graceful retreat into her own space where she can be herself without any of the pretense. She's mastered the art of leaving before anyone even realizes she's gone, which only adds to her mystique. The fakers might not even notice her absence at first, but eventually, they'll feel it. Because when a Sigma female leaves, she takes her authenticity, her depth, and her genuine energy with her. And those aren't things you can easily replace. This disappearing act isn't about being elusive or mysterious. It's about protecting her peace and staying true to who she is. Sigma females have no interest in navigating the murky waters of fake relationships. They thrive on realness, and when that's not on the table, they're perfectly fine stepping away. Their vanishing act is less about escaping and more about curating a life that's filled with what really matters. And if that means walking away from a few phony smiles along the way, so be it. They'd rather be alone in their truth than surrounded by people who can't even be real with themselves. Number 6 on our list, mastering the art of detachment. When a Sigma female vanishes, it's not always about avoiding others. It's often because she's knee-deep in one of her latest passions. Sigma females are naturally curious, and their minds are constantly buzzing with ideas, projects, and dreams they want to chase. So when the rest of the world is wondering where she's disappeared to, she's probably lost in her own little world, fully absorbed in something that lights her up inside. Whether it's mastering a new skill, diving into a creative project, or even planning her next big move, she's completely focused. And that kind of focus requires solitude. It's not that she doesn't value her relationships or enjoy spending time with others. It's just that when she's in the zone, everything else fades into the background. Sigma females have an all-or-nothing approach when it comes to their passions. When something captures their interest, they dive in head first, giving it their undivided attention. This intensity might make them seem distant or even aloof, but in reality they're just fully engaged with whatever has captured their heart and mind at that moment. And let's be honest, there's something incredibly empowering about being so wrapped up in your own world that you forget to check your phone, respond to messages, or even notice the time passing by. It's a kind of freedom that few people allow themselves, but for Sigma females it's essential. This deep immersion into their passions is what fuels them, recharges their spirit, and gives them the sense of purpose they need to thrive. It's not that they're intentionally avoiding people. They're just prioritizing their own growth and fulfillment. But when they do eventually resurface, they're often brimming with new ideas, insights, and energy. It's like they've been on a solo adventure, gathering treasures that they're now ready to share with the world. This cycle of vanishing and reappearing isn't about being unpredictable or hard to reach. It's just how they operate. They know that to be their best selves, they sometimes need to retreat into their own space and lose themselves in what they love. And when they come back, they bring a little bit of that magic with them, making every disappearance totally worth it. At number 7, self-preservation over social conformity. Sigma females have a finely tuned radar for nonsense, like a sixth sense that alerts them the moment their peace is under siege. The world is full of subtle traps that try to confine, control, or even chip away at who they are. But unlike most people who might grin and bear it, hoping things will magically get better, Sigma females have no patience for such games. They're the first to smell the staleness in the air when things get too predictable, too suffocating, or too soul-crushingly ordinary. And when that happens, they don't just make a quiet exit, they disappear completely, leaving nothing but a whisper in the wind. It's not that they're scared of pressure, they can handle more than most. It's just that they refuse to waste their time and energy on anything that's not aligned with their core values. Think of them as emotional minimalists. They won't let anyone or anything clutter up their inner space. So when they start feeling like the world around them is trying to drag them into its dull routine or push them into a mold that doesn't fit, they don't just step back, they vanish without a trace. This isn't some dramatic, spur-of-the-moment decision either. It's a calculated move, a way to preserve their sanity and protect their mental and emotional well-being. Sigma females know that sticking around in a situation that drains them is a slow form of self-sabotage, and they're too smart for that. They've got a zero-tolerance policy for anything or anyone that threatens their inner peace. And while others might be willing to trade their freedom for social acceptance or comfort, Sigma females see it differently. They'd rather be alone, thriving in their own space, than stuck in a cycle of mediocrity. What's more, they don't care if anyone else gets it. They've long since given up on trying to explain their choices to those who are too caught up in the conventional to see the wisdom in walking away. It's not about seeking approval or understanding. It's about choosing themselves every single time. So when a Sigma female vanishes, it's not a cry for help, and it's definitely not a phase. It's a powerful, deliberate act of self-preservation, a way to reclaim control in a world that constantly tries to steal it. And frankly, she's perfectly fine with people not getting it. Number 8, authenticity over popularity. When a Sigma female decides to vanish, it's often because she's fed up with the relentless push to conform. Society has this annoying habit of trying to squeeze everyone into neatly labeled boxes, complete with expectations and how-to guides for fitting in. But Sigma females? They're like the rebels who refuse to wear the uniform. They don't just ignore societal norms, they actively reject them, often with a flair that leaves others scratching their heads. Picture it. While everyone's busy playing by the rules and striving for approval, she's taking a step back, rolling her eyes and thinking, is this really all there is? To her, the standard path is as appealing as a soggy sandwich. When the pressure to conform becomes too much, she doesn't get mad or loud about it. Instead, she makes a subtle but deliberate exit. She doesn't need to shout from the rooftops about her discontent. Her absence is the loudest statement she could make. This vanishing act is her way of reclaiming her independence. She's not just dodging societal expectations, she's actively choosing to live life on her own terms. It's like she's saying, I'm not playing this game and you can't make me. Her retreat isn't a retreat from life, it's a retreat from a life that doesn't suit her. She's opting out of the cookie-cutter mold and instead crafting her own unique path, where the only approval she seeks is her own. So when you notice she's gone, don't assume she's lost or out of touch. She's probably off somewhere creating a life that feels right for her, away from the stifling demands of societal norms. Her vanishing act is less about disappearing and more about making a bold statement. She doesn't need anyone's permission to be herself. And while she's off redefining her own rules, the rest of us are left to wonder what kind of extraordinary things she's up to. Things that probably wouldn't fit neatly into anyone's idea of normal anyway. If you enjoyed exploring why Sigma females vanish, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more intriguing content. Your support helps us create more great videos. Thanks for watching, Jules. See you in the next video. Bye for now, and God bless.